is just fantastic. Captain's Log, Subdates 211216.7. With the crappy gifts that I've received, I decided to start exacting my revenge on the crew. I'll start by sticking the bottle up Bork's arse and lodging the cap in an NPC crewman's throat. They can then use the bottle opener to try and remove it. Welcome everyone to the exhibition of stupid people. Today we're going to start with two subjects that I saw on Twitter. One from the Metro and the other from the Manchester Evening News. So we'll go to the Metro first. Paul and Tanisha Tate Austin had their home valued at $989,000, which is amazing, isn't it? Fantastic news. However, they decided to sue the real estate firm that appraised the property. Over the course of 5 years, the couple made $400,000 worth of major renovations to the home, which included new floor, 1,000 square feet of space, a new deck, fireplace, along with many other improvements. But the value they've received for the property felt like a slap in the face to them. So what they decided to do, 3 weeks later after getting the initial appraisal, was to get another opinion. For the second appraisal, by a different lender, they enlisted the help of their friend Jan, who agreed to pretend to be Tanisha. What they did next was remove anything that had pictures of them, family photos, anything that was African themed. The reason why is because their friend, Jan, is white, and they wanted to see if there was anything racially motivated when it came to the value of their property. The friend even agreed to go along with this, bringing their own pictures of her own family, to make it look like it belonged to her. In the lawsuit, the Austins accused the first appraiser of giving them a lowball valuation because of the colour of their skin, with the couple now suing the company Miller & Perotti Real Estate Appraisals and seeking financial damages, along with asking the court to order the defendants to ensure they will not discriminate when appraising houses. Tanisha's husband Paul told the State Reparations Task Force that he believed the property was devalued because "We are in a black neighborhood, and the home belonged to a black family." When asked to comment, the National Association of Realtors, NAR, said discrimination is in nearly every aspect of that home buying process, adding we need to be addressing it as an industry. The curious question here is, do Tanisha and Paul actually have a point or a leg to stand on? It would be apparent based on NAR that there is in fact a very much valid point to be made here. Also, when the valuation from the second realtors was $500,000 more than the first one does have to wonder what on earth it was they saw that knocked $500,000 off its actual value. Or do we need to go to a third realtor and try and find ourselves, for the sake of science, a nice average? And yes, for the sake of it, when this one goes through and gets dealt with, if an update is provided via the news, I will of course give you the update. So to the next one, we go to the Manchester Evening News. And yes, this one is indeed a very Meggy Merry Moistmas themed subject. An Asda shopper, Asda being a supermarket, was left fuming after accidentally buying tiny mince pies. As you can see from this picture, he is definitely fuming. The gentleman in the picture, Liam Smith, visited the supermarket in Reddish and bought a pack of 4 Baker's Selection mince pies. He bought these treats as a contribution to a family get-together, but when he arrived he realised that the pies were a fraction of the size of the plastic packaging they were stored in, because apparently he just lifted them up and didn't have a look. Being quoted on Twitter as saying, "I don't know why I still visit Asda, here thinking I was getting some deep fill mince pies. Not only poor quality, but packaging waste of plastic. Boris Johnson hasn't ruined Christmas this time, it was Asda and their half a mince pie." Now there's some blame here, one to Asda, because yes, that is a bit of a dick move. Come on, all that space, based on the packaging size, it would be understandable you wouldn't notice it. But there is also blame to lay at Liam Smith's feet. When he tweeted criticising the quality of the product, yet also saying this was for a get-together, it tells me that not only was he not paying attention, but he wasn't really thinking about a decent mince pie for the family, so he kind of has to take some responsibility? Feels a bit odd to blame the person when it isn't really their fault at the same time. And Asda have declined to comment on this. As far as I'm concerned, Christmas has been ruined by this. I guess you should all now celebrate Merry Meggy Moistmas with your mince pies instead. And yes, all of ours are deep-filled, and yes, all of ours are bourbon-infused. Oh, yes. So to another subject seen from Twitter and another subject from the Manchester News, we go to takeaways. A takeaway company has been forced to refund customers who complained that their ice cream was cold via Just Eat. Just Eat makes it very easy for many of us who order takeaway, so not me, to acquire the goods we need, have it delivered, and not really have to go through the hassle of trying to call them up for them to botch the order. Although, to be honest, they still invariably do it through Just Eat or Deliveroo anyway. I remember the old jokes from when I was a kid, going into McDonald's, complaining your ice cream was too cold, or your burger was too hot. You know, the usual spiel for a laugh. But somebody's actually taken this and applied it to the real world, finding a loophole in such a way they're able to get their money back. Hassan Habib, the man who owns Lucky's in Oldham, has said that he can no longer afford to use the platform Just Eat because of a number of refunds on the site which have cost him several £100s each month. Habib's complaint is that these refunds started appearing more frequently after Just Eat changed their refund system to be more like Uber Eats and Deliveroo, which makes it far simpler for customers to get their money back if they were dissatisfied with the order. With Habib saying, "We can see how many orders someone's made on Just Eat or with us, and I've seen someone who's ordered food from us and they've never placed an order on Just Eat before. They've ordered 4 milkshakes, a cheesecake and an ice cream, and 45 minutes later they put in a refund request because their food was cold. That is one of the many examples. They just order food, put down XYZ, is wrong with it, do a refund and leave us to the costs. I fully understand that things go wrong. Sometimes we make mistakes, we miss items or send the wrong item out. But we make it up to the customers whether it's with a replacement item or a fully entitled refund. But now, some really bad people are taking advantage of this loophole and it's left us in a bad position. Considering what's going on in the world right now, many companies are still recovering from the coup or are possibly about to have more issues because of the coup. Money is quite tight for a lot of people. Well, except for the person who got those refunds. Money isn't necessarily tight for them, since they're the type of person who'd put money into a slot machine with a string attached to it so they can pull it out. The next subject is just a headline, but it's so dumb on the face of it, I just have to point and laugh, and I saw this through Irate Alex. That's the freaking headline. Article from the Daily Mail. 32,000 Americans who think they'll be alive for Christmas will be dead by year's end, experts warn. Yes, there are pictures that accompany this, but the title on the face of it is incredibly stupid. Who think they'll be alive. There are no words to explain just how stupid this is, beyond me saying it is really stupid, but I guess we could consider this audience participation time. You tell me how stupid this is in the comments, along with anything else you want to add, like correcting me for mistakes I've made already in this video. Thank you. Next, we're going to go to Trigger Hippie. Now, I've actually met this guy at my friend Skog's wedding, tweeting out, okay, what the camel beauty pageant? What? 43 of them have been using Botox. WTF? Are there any cases of other cosmetics being used? A little blush and lipstick, perhaps? It's a retweet of Discordia, who has an AFP tweet. And I thought this was a joke, by the way. In fact, it's true. There is in fact a Saudi camel beauty pageant which has been hit with cheating. So in this high-stakes camel beauty pageant in Saudi Arabia, 43 entrants were disqualified for Botox. The King Abdulaziz Camel Festival is an annual Bedouin held in the desert northeast of Riyadh that lures breeders from around the Gulf with a prize money of up to $66 million. But the organisers have had to crack down on cosmetic enhancements, a malpractice that has thrived amid stiff competition, bit ironic with Botox, and despite heavy penalties. The enhancements are made in a bid to make the camel's lips droopier, their humps more shapely, which are key attributes in the pageant. It is in fact 43 disqualifications, that is, the largest number since the beauty contest was inaugurated 6 years ago. In 2018, more than a dozen were barred. This kind of nonsense, by the way, happens in regular beauty pageants all the time anyway, so it was inevitable someone would take it from one type of abuse and just apply it to animals as well and think it's okay, because they think they're better than the rules. They want the perfect camel with the perfect humps and the droopiest lips. Very few times in my life have I ever come across something where having droopy lips is seen as a good thing. Just saying. While we're still in the ballpark of animals, we're now going to talk about Vicky Holland. Vicky Holland owned a pet monkey. She was recently charged with 3 offences against the Animal Welfare Act after footage emerged of her enticing her pet marmoset to, well, taste of the sherbet. But that wasn't the only one. You see, there are other issues here. For example, in videos where she was laughing, she tried to flush this same marmoset down the toilet as the marmoset clinged desperately to the rim of the bowl. Article link down below does have pictures. No, I'm not going to show you them. These videos were then shown to the RSPCA after the Gwent police raided her home, where they obviously then discovered drugs, so a tip-off there. To add to all these charges, during the trial, the prosecutor said that despite the marmosets having a particular set of needs, Vicky Holland provided no UVB lighting for the monkey, the cage was devoid of decor needed for environmental enrichment, and had been fed a diet of burgers, sausages, kebabs, and processed ham. Vicky Holland was found guilty of all 3 offences because she pled guilty, so yes, she eventually realised, oh, I'm screwed. Her sentence for this heinous crime, and it is that she was banned from keeping all animals for life, given a 12-week jail term, suspended for a year, ordered to pay £420 in costs, and a £128 victim surcharge. £128 victim surcharge. My view, stick her in a toilet and flush it. See how she likes it, living in a cage with nothing but the most basic meat diet known to exist. Your needs not met in the slightest. By the way, I've always had the view that if you can't look after an animal, you shouldn't have children. You're a mother. I wonder if child services have been involved in your life since this happened. For the next subject, we go to Arkansas. Ryan Brandt, a server at the Oven and Tap restaurant in Bentonville, received a $4,400 tip to split with another waitress earlier this month. The customers that donated this were 44 real estate executives from around the country who were meeting for a conference that night and decided to each pitch in $100, which is £75, for the service. Grant Wise, president of the local real estate company Whitley, surprised Miss Brandt with the tip at the end of the meal, announcing in a speech to the restaurant, "Everybody at this table has contributed $100 for you and the other waitress, so we are all tipping you a total of $4,400 for you to split with the other girl who took care of us." Mr. Wise later told a radio station, "It was an incredible thing to do, and to be able to see the server's reaction, to know what that meant to her and the impact it had on her life already." Well, this, unraveled very fast, because the manager decided that that tip had to be split with the rest of the restaurant staff, which meant she would have been left with 20%. As that was not what Mr. Wise had in mind, he complained to the restaurant and got his money back. He then left the restaurant and gave Miss Brandt her tip outside. But, immediately after getting that tip, she was fired. Now this one's a strange one. Restaurants have their own rules when it comes to tips and how they are divvied up. Those that donated the money, though, are well within their right to decide who gets that money and how that money is split. Since she lost her job, a GoFundMe was started. With a $6,000 goal, it hit $8,732. It's also worth adding that since she got fired, she actually managed to find a new job at another restaurant. Congratulations to you, Miss Brandt. The next one's a tad tricky. The story involves Rosie Kay, who resigned from a dance company that she founded in 2004, with her believing she was forced out for views on sex and gender, which she expressed at a dinner party in her home in August. Complaints were made by the dancers present at the party, which led to an unfair, opaque, and horrific investigation process that's still ongoing, which is something Kay herself has said. Earlier in the week, the choreographer said she could not endure the humiliation any longer, and spoke to the media about her decision to resign. In an open letter that was seen by the BBC, the dancers claimed that by going public, Kay has caused potential detriment to their careers, and that in the letter they want to set the record straight and to ensure that any dancers under the supervision of Rosie Kay do not undergo the same marginalization that we have suffered. The thing is, you were at Rosie Kay's home, and she made comments at her home. You took those comments and forced an investigation. What did you think was going to happen when Rosie Kay defended herself? Did you think you were suddenly going to be given free passes? While I'm not going to jump on either side of the arguments when it comes to male, female, man, woman, biological sex, and gender, I'm really not jumping on any of that. I fully understand, appreciate, and can respect consequences exist for a reason. And by the way, this situation with Rosie Kay is actually quite complicated. You have claimed that she abused her power, and that when she pried into why some people identified as non-binary, you considered it a microaggression, along with her talking about eunuchs, which I believe was actually a reference to Germaine Greer's The Feminist Eunuch. Again though, this gets incredibly murky, and the article is extremely long. I did notice a tweet that I think might tie into this, although I could be wrong. It was the honey badgers. This is a catfight between feminists and trans women activists. Somehow men are to blame. UK 2021. A woman cannot express her perfectly legal beliefs in her own home without serious personal and professional consequences. Men must be able to freely access online porn in any place at any time. Are you not seeing it yet? Part of me thought perhaps the first bit was a direct reference to Rosie Kay, but I could be wrong. To the final subject, food industry trending boycott IHOP. There were a number of reasons why. One was because IHOP complained about a lack of workers when they took 50 PPP loans. The parent company took $8.5 million. The other reason, which ties into this, would include tweets from, for example, Franberg. Due to the fact that Biden gave out way too much free money and nobody wants to work anymore, we are forced to reduce our hours during the week. I'm not saying it's strange or sus, but surely these two things kinda tie into each other a little bit. But I could be wrong. I know there's an argument that with IHOP, the cost of living has gone up, the inflation has risen, they can't afford the staff, people are refusing to work as well. It certainly makes things a tad tricky, but I will admit these two tweets alone are quite amusing, especially when you know how many loans they took out, and the fact they still can't afford things, but are willing to blame Biden for it. Although it's possible it's his fault. Can we just blame him anyway? Can I blame him that my crew gave me a bottle top and a bottle opener, but no actual bottle? Come on. Anyway, as we're done, I'd love to know what you think, so please do let me know in the comments down below. Smash the like, share the video. If I don't see you on Twitch tonight, have a great day. Thank you all very much for listening.